going on, guys? It's Mike Norris. I'm here today with Amanda Goetz, founder, CEO of House of Wise, and CMO of Teal. How's it going, Amanda?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Probably not as well as you because we were just discussing the weather before we got on here, and I'm in, middle of Antarctic Chicago, and you're in nice Charlotte. But hey, it works.
It's actually colder. It's supposed to snow today here, which my kids are like ecstatic about because they didn't think they'd see snow. I'm not certain if it will, but I'm headed to Miami in a few months. So I'm like, okay, I would love one more snow and then I'll head to the tropics.
Snow is always nice for me before Christmas. I like snow. And then after Christmas, I'm kind of like, I'm just like over it. This winter hasn't been that bad though. So
I lived in Chicago for a few years, and the January through May feels eternal because you get like these somewhat like warmer days and you think spring is coming, and then it's like 2 more months of winter.
Yeah, always.
It just feels eternal, but yeah.
Well, tell us more about yourself. Obviously you lived here for a while, but what else?
I mean, you're in Illinois. I was born and raised on a farm in central Illinois. So fun fact, this isn't a fun fact, but I'm first generation college grad, and neither of my parents have actually been on an airplane.
Wow.
So really small town.
Yeah.
They grew up both in kind of farming families. My mom is one of 11 children.
Oh my God.
And they lived 3 miles down the road. My parents built the house that I grew up in, literally down the road from my grandparents' house. And I grew up in the middle of nowhere, like literally cornfields. My town is now, I think, around 1,000 people. I think it was like 800 at the time when I was growing up there. And we lived like 10 miles outside of the town, the downtown. So even to just go get a gallon of milk from the grocery store, which was Ron's Super Value because Ron owned it, you'd have to drive like 15 minutes to get there. And for me to go to school was like a 45-minute drive because it was on the other side of the county. We had one school for the entire county. And yeah, I grew up spending a lot of time alone because my brother is 7 years older than me. So I was by myself, and I attribute a lot of like my creative side of the brain to just being alone all the time as a kid because I just made up games all the time and had to occupy myself because my mom was like busy helping my dad with his business, and so she would just be like, go play, and I would have to figure out how to entertain myself. So I think a lot of my creativity comes from that.
Oh, that's awesome. And then tell us a little bit about Teal and House of Wise too.
Yeah, so I currently split my time. I am a half-time CMO, so 2.5 days a week. I am helping build Teal, which I'll speak about in a second, because Teal and House of Wise kind of share a similar mission, but in just very different categories. And then the other half of my time, I am the founder and CEO of House of Wise, which is a luxury CBD company, helping women to live life on their own terms, helping them to take control of their sleep, their sex, their stress, and their wealth. We are a micro affiliate distribution strategy. So everyone becomes a wise woman, and they're a part of our Slack community. We teach them about, we talk about sleep, we talk about sex, we talk about stress, but we also talk about life. We talk about relationships. It's kind of treating women as whole people.
I love that.
And it's fun. It's really hard for women to compartmentalize in general. When we have a bad day at work, it's probably hard to have sex at night. And I think this is the first time women feel like they can open up about all parts of their life. They can be both a badass at work, but also, want to talk about relationships or whatever. So
Sure.
That's what we're doing with House of Wise. And we just launched December 1st, and it's off and running. It's going better than I could have anticipated. And we're getting incredible testimonials. So I'm so thankful. And then with Teal's on a similar mission of helping people to take control, but it's in their careers. And so it was started by Dave Fano, who former WeWork executive team, and he learned a lot about, he built a lot of curriculums in his day, in his past lives, and he realized that there was no one really acting on behalf of the employee. Every company has HR departments, but the HR departments are just looking out for the company, really. And so there's no one really saying like, hey, let us figure out why you're unhappy in this role or at this company. And then let's start to figure out a plan to get you to where you will go next, that you will be happy and you'll feel fulfilled. And fulfilled means different things to different people. Sometimes it's about money, sometimes it's about organizational structure and autonomy, sometimes it's about culture and mission. So helping people to do a little bit more introspection and being in control and in the driver's seat of their career. Because most people are really passive about career planning. It's like, you get to a point of like, I'm unhappy. And when you're unhappy, that's usually an emotional decision. You take whatever's the next offer or whatever seems exciting or whatever's the easiest to get out. And I think some of the best advice I ever got is make sure that you're running towards a goal versus away from something that's like frustrating or painful. Because if you're running away from it and not towards a goal, then you're going to make bad decisions. And so many people, I think, are doing the latter when they're doing career planning versus the former. And Teal has an amazing product first and foremost. And so I get to come in and just kind of build a great brand on top of it, which is what I love to do.
Well, it's awesome that both of those initiatives are so people centric. I think that's, especially in today's day and age. I mean, everyone's starting to get more in tune with, the actual person, rather than, just analytics and someone being another number, right? And let's see how many sales we can rack up. Let's squeeze profits out of them. It's that side of business can get ugly sometimes, and especially when it comes to marketing and all that. Just understanding people, understanding who's on the other end is so important.
I think we're seeing it from the rise of like, okay, a couple of years ago, growth marketer was so important, right? Like, what's your CAC? How are you optimizing that? Like CAC to LTV ratio, like, let's talk about numbers.
Yep.
But then I think 2020 was like this wake up call for many brands that, oh, you can't just like plug and play culture. You can't plug and play philanthropy and mission and actually like so many companies were called out for being performative in 2020. And I think people realized, yeah. And when you only focus on numbers and not about what you stand for as a company, and then how that touches all different parts, like having a mission at the heart of everything. Like, for example, for House of Wise, it's so important. Like, if we want every woman to be living life on their own terms, there's a group of women right now who are sitting in jail for doing the exact same thing I'm doing, which is being in the cannabis industry. And so I could not build House of Wise without this focus on helping those women get out of jail. So we have a partnership with Last Prisoner Project, which is on a mission to get every single person who's on cannabis charges out of jail. And we have a scholarship program. So all the proceeds from House of Wise go to the children of those women to help them with scholarship funds. And because I'm a mom, a lot of the Wise women are moms, and we need to help other moms. And the cannabis industry has not been built on equality. It just hasn't. And so that's important. But I think a lot of brands first think about themselves and they're like, okay, I have a product. How do I get my product to everyone? And they don't think about the end consumer's actual reality and their story. And even like you see it in copywriting, like many people write copy and you can tell it's like they're thinking from their perspective and talking value props versus end users' emotions and what emotional need that'll satiate. So I think that we're going to see this kind of swing continuing back to that brand marketer, because that role was seen as frivolous when you have like a growth marketer who's bringing in top of the funnel. But people are now like, wait, what's our story? What's the connective tissue here? And they need more people to come in and kind of build that.
Well, I love how quickly you've been able to build a community too, because I follow you on Twitter and I saw a tweet this morning. I think someone either tweeted at you or something of the sort. And they were like, I've got my sex gummy ready for tonight. I've got my sleep gummy ready for after that. And I mean, that's so cool because like you said, you've only been around since December and these people are just, I mean, you've built a community in a short time. And
It's wild.
yeah, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
how did you come up with the whole idea and everything and roll this all out?
So I mean, everybody wants to be like, oh, it's so planned and I knew exactly what I was doing. But let's be honest, like I think the thing people are connected to is just vulnerability and honesty, I think, first and foremost. And so being on Twitter over the past year, I've been sharing what I'm doing. And I share not only what I'm doing, but also what I've been through. And I've connected with many of these women one-on-one at some point, whether it's like they went through a divorce, they went through fertility issues, or whatever, like all the different, you name it, like being a parent during the pandemic, and they connected to like all of my chaotic tweets about like homeschooling and by myself while I'm working and the madness. But I think feeling connected to a human is more powerful than being connected to a product or a service.
Oh yeah.
And I'm, to my probably like own demise at some point, I'm like responding to every DM and in our House of Wise Slack group, really being a part of these women's days. And that's been incredible. And so this group of women that I found early on in Twitter, I created an email list that I literally emailed them probably once every 2 months over the past like 8 months, just telling them way more behind the scenes of House of Wise, got their opinions on packaging and things like that.
Oh,
And so when we launched, they felt like they had built this with me, which they had. Like I wouldn't have done it without them. And I couldn't have launched, like launch day was because of them. Like they were, and they didn't even have the product yet because COVID and supply chain issues. I was supposed to have it December 1st. I wasn't going to get it till December 19th, but I wanted to launch so people could start to talk about it before the holidays. And so they were literally like talking about a product before they had it. And so they trusted me because they had seen how much like blood, sweat, tears I put into the R&D of this product, testing out so many different farms and hemp oil, and then co-packers and all of that stuff that goes into supply chain and building an actual product, that they wanted to talk about the brand and the company first. And now that people actually have product in their hands and it's working for them, and I built a product that I needed. Like when I was going through a divorce, had 3 kids under the age of 4, and I was leading marketing for a global company that was about to get acquired. Like my life was chaos.
I bet.
And I turned to cannabis instead of alcohol because alcohol does not do well with me. I will be hungover for days. I can't work out, and that's really important to me. And so I turned to CBD and microdosing THC, and it helped me. And so I created a product that I wish I had. And so I think that is important, because when you're creating something for yourself, you have literally the highest standard. And so, yeah, now that people have the product, they're talking about it, and it's awesome and it works, and we're getting great testimonials. But yeah, that tweet was awesome. She was like, I have my sex gummy lined up, and then my sleep gummy to follow.
Hey, that's a good Friday.
Great Friday.
I love I mean, I can't think of a better way to build a company than to find a product you're passionate in, that you want to create, that doesn't exist in the way that you want it to be in its current state, and then to develop a community that not only for them but for you too. Like you've got this community now.
Oh my gosh,
that you can speak to as well. They've got a community as well, and I mean, I think Slack's a great place for it too, because you can be on Slack sort of passively throughout the day as you're doing your job and doing all these other things. So to me, that's just amazing. Like you said, most businesses come out, they go product first, and then they think, who's my target market? How am I going to, find product market fits, all that. And you just had that from day one. So very commendable to me.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you didn't intend this, but CBD is hard to advertise, right? There's a lot of restrictions around it still. You can't run Facebook ads, you can't run Google ads, you can't do any of that stuff. So I think it's just, a really good fit there too.
I mean, yeah, we're shadow banned on Instagram right now. So like there's like a percentage of people, like I tweeted out yesterday, I was like, can you guys see this Instagram? Like, and I think like 20% of people can't. So we're still figuring out like whether we used a hashtag CBD at some point. But yeah, it's difficult. I can't run a single paid ad. There are ways to hack around it, but yeah, I think that's what's so important about building a community first, because in the CBD world, you can't just create a product and launch it, because how are you going to tell people about it if you don't have an existing community to advocate for it?
Yeah. So how do you find the time to balance being a mom, having, 2 executive roles, and you're moving, it sounds like? I mean, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. I have like 4 tabs that you can't see that are all researching schools, because all the school applications are due in like 6 days.
Oh, wow.
But look, I mean, it's crazy, and it's definitely, there are days that it's overwhelming, but I'm very, very intentional with time management, and I always have like a cost benefit analysis going in my head of like the thing I'm working on, and is it the most impactful thing, with a variety of different criteria associated with that. But I believe in intentionality. Like if I'm going to sit down at my computer for 3 hours, like I am knowing exactly what I need to accomplish at that time, and I will get that done. And I'm very pragmatic about what I can accomplish in an amount of time. And I don't create to-do lists that are miles long. Like I have 2 to 3 things that I'm going to crank out today. And when I accomplish those 3 things, that's realistic. I'm going to move on to whatever next thing. And I have non-negotiables. Like I get to my desk at 8, I get my kids going, and I do have help. Like thankfully now we figured out a way to have help safely. So we have a babysitter, and we also are homeschooling. So the kids go to a room that's a dedicated classroom in my house. Yeah. And so we've turned a classroom that when they're not in school, so if it's not 8:30 to 2:30, they don't get to go in that room. It's the
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's the master bedroom. And so it has its own closet and bathroom. And so they literally go in there, they come out for lunch, they come out for snack time, where they'll mix and mingle with their brother. But my 2 daughters just go in there, and there's a teacher, and they go to school, homeschool. But no, at 5 o'clock, like my kids need me. And I'd rather my kids have a focused mom giving them their attention and being intentional about the time together for 3 hours a day than like a distracted, scatterbrained mom for 6 hours a day. And so I know that like, yeah, my kids aren't getting me all the time, but when they get me, they're going to get all of me. And that to me, like helps me relieve guilt. Like when I'm with them, I play with them, I'm on the floor, we're building puzzles, we're playing LOL dolls, like whatever, they get the goofy mom. But then when it's time to work, they know, hey, mommy's working right now. This is mommy's work time. Like you need to go, play. And I don't feel guilty about that. Like, I think that that's a hard thing, but it's taken a lot of time. Like I've been a mom now for over 7 years. And so that guilt, like relieving yourself of that guilt along the way is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, before we fired up the recording here, we were talking a little bit. I mean, my mom owned a marketing agency when I was growing up, and it was kind of the same thing. I mean, I knew she was busting her ass, and when she was, I wouldn't bother her. But then when it came time to being a mom, she was always around. So I'm sure they appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
And I need to tell my mom that I appreciate that too.
Exactly. She'll appreciate that. You're welcome, Mom.
Maybe she's listening. I don't know. So do you have any advice for someone who maybe they're in a similar situation? They've got a product, they started a business, but they haven't built that community that you have. Any ways that, and maybe it's too late to do it in the way that you have. Probably, you're looking at me like no, but
no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I wear all my emotions on my face. No, horrible quality. No, I think that it's never too late. I think what people assume is like, oh, because I'm at this stage of my company, I have to have at least like 5,000 people. Mm. I would rather have 50 people who are obsessed with my company, my brand, my product, than 10,000 lukewarm like lurkers.
Sure.
And so I think building a community, it's not instant gratification. And so growth marketers, people who like love to see conversion and ROI on something, you're not going to get that from building community. But what you will get is like it's long tail. Like you over time will reap the benefits. One word of mouth testimonial from one person to their friend is worth more than impressions on your landing page. And so, sorry, let me quit Slack because otherwise that's just going to keep happening.
I recognize that sound.
Oh my God, we all do. There's like a TikTok meme of like when you hear Slack and like people have PTSD.
Yeah.
But so I think it's never too late to start a community. It's just being realistic about your audience and speaking to that small group of loyalists. So there's this amazing diagram about audience segmentation that like I have in my head at all times. Let me see if I can actually like say this constructively, but you have people who have never heard about you and have never tried you. There are people that have heard about you, but didn't try you. There are people that have tried you, but aren't talking about you. And then the like top right where you want everybody to be is they've tried you and they're talking about you. Mm. You're never going to get from point A to point D. That's really hard. And so what happens is if you build these people, whether it's 10 or 20, just like loyalists, and you spend time listening to them, talking to them, cultivating that, rewarding them, over time, you're moving. Those people are in the top right quadrant. You may only have 10 of them. They've tried you, they're loving you, they're talking about you. Their job is to bring all these other people slowly through that kind of Z. And I think that that's the way to think about it.
Sure. Yeah, it seems like the overarching theme that I'm getting is, number one, you got to be pretty passionate about it, but number two, you kind of have to genuinely care about people.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you're starting a company just because you see an opportunity in the market and it's not something you care about and are passionate about, you're going to burn out, and you're not going to care about talking about this to the end consumer. You just want profit. You just want to, fundraise or whatever. And you're not in it for the right reasons. And so you'll burn out eventually and you'll take a quick exit or whatever. But I think that that's why this is so fun for me, because I literally, this brand is like really me personified as a brand. It's like I have no filter. Like we're talking about sex and then parenting and then whatever. Like it's so fun to me. And I love like women and how complex we are and how much we've had to go through in terms of like patriarchal norms and understanding our femininity, but then also understanding our masculinity. And so I think that there's just so much there that I could never get bored talking about it and to women and learning about their inner world. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any advice for someone who might be in a similar situation where they've got a passion, but it lies outside of what they're currently doing?
Hmm. So you have a passion and you're not working on it. Well,
Right.
not everybody wants to, needs to, can quit everything that they're doing. Like I literally am a single mom with 3 kids. I can't just quit having a paycheck to start a company. And so I figured out how to make it work with another company that I love and am passionate about and excited about. And so if it all depends on somebody's reality of their life and what they can and cannot do. But if you have a passion, there's this wonderful children's book called What Do You Do with an Idea? And it's the cutest book. Like I wish I could just like story time it right now, but it's
Next
like,
episode.
yeah, exactly. It's just come and Amanda will read her kids' books to you. But it's like about this kid who has an idea that's shaped like a little egg. And at first he just keeps ignoring it, but it follows him everywhere and he can't ignore it anymore. And so when he finally gives it attention, the egg starts to get bigger and then bigger. And all of a sudden it turns into this beautiful thing. And people made fun of him along the way for having this egg with him and all this stuff. But it, you just have to give it a little attention. And then if that works and it's grows a little bit, give it a little bit more attention. And over time, if it's meant to be, like it will continue to take its own shape. And that's like, I mean, I've had a couple of ideas of companies I'd wanted to start, and that's what you do in the early days. You kind of give it a little attention, you talk to some people, you are intentional about this idea, you explore it, you look at market research. That's what you do in the beginning. You give it attention. And then if that attention turns into something and a connection is made with this person, and all of a sudden you like are learning about suppliers or whatever, you keep giving it a little bit more attention. And like my intention with House of Wise in the very beginning was like, I'm just going to launch it and see what happens. Like I had no big dreams of like, I'm going to make this, $1 billion cannabis empire. Like I just knew that women are stressed, they're not sleeping well, and they're not having as much sex as they should be. How can I like help them and create products for them? And if it helps just 10 women and myself, and I just have a lifetime of CBD in my bedroom, great. But what's happening is I'm realizing that there's a little bit more there. And so I'm going to keep giving it attention that it needs and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I think, I know I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it just seems so perfect to me that this worked out the way that it did, because you could have launched with CBD products for everybody, right? And you're just another CBD seller, and maybe you don't have specific types for sleep or for stress or something like that. And I feel like you're a really good marketer, and that kind of came through in all this without you even intending to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. People think that I was like way more intentional. Like I had a deck somewhere. They're like, can you please tell me your deck or share with me your deck about like all of your go-to-market plan? And I was like, there isn't one. Like I wish that I could do that, but I wish I could pretend that I was like that proactive. But no, it was like just slowly you listen to people and you make small decisions that I think the biggest thing is I have in my mind, I have a vision for what the brand embodies and
Sure.
that like mission of what we're setting out to do. So I have the destination plugged into the GPS. Now we're on a road trip. Like, I don't know what road we're going to take, what pit stops we're making, but like, we're on a road trip now. We know where we're going. And I think that's the best part. Like, I think a lot of people know like what the first stop in the road trip is, but they don't know where they want to go long term. And then it's hard. Like, you can literally end up very off track that way.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask, and maybe the answer to this is just no, but now that it has kind of taken off, do you have a different vision as to what the next step might be? Do you just kind of continue it as it's going? Do you?
I started with very little funding. We raised a very small pre-seed. So step 2 is raise a seed round and start to grow the team. Like I have 0 full-time hires. Like it's just me. I have amazing contractors who are helping me, put all like pieces together for a few hours a week. But Next is start to hire people that can do this full time. And the best thing about my relationship with Dave and Teal, like this was a part-time CMO only works until, Teal becomes a certain size. And so we always knew that this was, a chapter for both of us. And at some point, Teal's going to need a full-time CMO. And at some point, House of Wise is going to need a full-time CEO. And it's kind of a whichever comes first. And we have a very open and honest dialogue along the way. And then I'll move into more of an advisor role for Teal. I will hire the next head of marketing. And yeah, so that's kind of like what probably the next stage of this chapter is.
Well, we've got a lot of our audience is comprised of a lot of business owners and small business owners too. What kind of hires do you think you would look to make first? Or what kind of qualities would you look for?
Okay, so I'll talk about
real question, sorry.
Yeah, no, but good questions. I mean, I do care about the people and who they are first and foremost. So I look for people who genuinely are passionate about what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, like if someone's not passionate about the thing they're working on, they're not going to go above and beyond. Like we've all been there.
Yeah.
And so that's first and foremost, people who are genuinely pumped about what we're doing and the problems we're solving. And then two, I always think about goals. So where are we going? So we know that. And then what are the goals and milestones we need to get to hit that goal? And then I start to staff up to make sure that I'm equipped to hit those quantitative milestones. And so right now, I need somebody, like our supply chain is like, we have product, it's going out, but it's coming out from my garage and I'm hand packing everything. And so like, first step is like, we need to be able to ramp up. We can't open the top of the funnel of our supply chain if I can't keep up with orders. So like ops is going to be a huge thing, getting ops in place. And then the next phase is like, great, once ops is ready to go and we have this like well-oiled machine of like, doesn't matter how much of the faucet we turn on, that's ready to go, then great. Now we can start to build the top of the funnel, and that's social content, PR, etc. So that's kind of how I think about the next two tiers of hiring.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Is it different being a business owner versus a CMO? I'm sure it is.
That's a really good question. I mean, if I was an ops person, I would say, yeah, because the CEO has to think about ops and this and that. But CMOs and CEOs, in my mind, I'm thinking about the same things every day. It's like, how do I build out the funnel for Teal? Like if we turn on the top of the funnel and we bring a lot of people in, what's their experience and are we pathing them the right way, and et cetera. I think about the same thing as a CEO, but it's a hard question to answer because if I had like a finance person next to me who was a financial CEO and I had an ops person who was more of an operational CEO, we'd all probably, I think, say yes if that question were individualized. Like, is being a CFO the same as being a CEO? They'd say yes because they're like, I have to think about the books, I have to know the numbers. But we might have to do that with different people and see. But I think yes, because you have to know what role your company plays on this earth, in someone's mind, in someone's emotions. And if you don't have a reason for existence, then where do you go from there? So
sure.
I think CMO and CEO are the most closely, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good perspective. I mean, it's very rare that people are able to, engage in both of those roles at some point. So I like that, hearing that. Do you see any potential roadblocks along the way? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally playing in like the most weirdly regulated space. Like no one knows which way is up. Like payment processors are like, you literally can wake up one day and your bank just drops you. Like you have no clue. And also like it's a crop. And so if your main supplier has a bad crop year, like there are so many things that are literally out of my control that I can't even plan for. Like I have a cannabis lawyer, I have a business lawyer. You kind of set yourself up in case something were to happen. But like, I mean, we see Cuomo pushing for cannabis regulations in New York and legalization. We're within, administration change, like we're probably going to see a lot more of that. And so what does that mean for the industry? Does that mean that there's going to be more scrutiny and we actually have more regulations and hoops to jump through? Possibly. Because right now it was just Farm Bill passed. CBD is legal as long as it has less than 0.3 THC and you like put a disclaimer on it. That's like the extent of it. But now we might actually, there may be new regulations, and I actually think that would be a great thing, because the reason I created House of Wise, because there was a lot of shitty CBD products on the market that were either placebo or they had more THC, and I would have like bloodshot eyes going to work the next day, and you're like, I can't, no, this is not acceptable. And so I think actually regulation would be great, because it would allow us, like, we should turn in our third party potency reports and have everybody see them. So yeah.
Do you have any intention of expanding into the THC side if it becomes legalized, or are you going to stick with CBD?
I would lie if I didn't say I think about it. But I think that we're still like, there are so many people who still don't know what CBD alone can do for them. Sure. And so I want to build a company that first and foremost makes the best CBD products for women. If in 5 years, we think that everybody is ready now for like the extra strength, House of Wise sex gummy, and we think that there's an opportunity, but there's so much there that state to state, we may find that those laws are going to be different state to state. And so it's not, I think about it, but there's so many unknowns that, well, ask me in like 5 years.
A lot of red tape. I get that. So I discovered you, this will probably be my last question because I want to be respectful of your time, but I discovered you on Twitter a while back, and you've got a lot of Twitter followers. I want to say it's about 30,000 or so. How did you grow that following?
Not intentionally. So it's a funny story. I had, like everybody else, signed on to Twitter years ago, but I maybe published like 2 Instagram posts to Twitter throughout the years. And then I guess it would have been end of 2019. Alex Edelman, we were in a conversation. He's the founder of Lolly, and he was like, you should really get on Twitter. And I was like, no. It's like a male echo chamber. People just talk about politics. Everybody just wants to be divisive. Like, no.
Well,
and that was my hot take, right? Yeah. And I don't believe in divisiveness. I believe in conversations and understanding people's inner world. And I was like, I don't think that this is a platform for me. And we got in many heated debates about it. And so eventually I was like, listen, I will try it for 6 months and see what happens. And I made like a goal to myself, like, okay, I'm going to actually do this. I'm not going to just like half-ass it. So I said, I'll tweet, 4 times originally a day. And then I would engage with other people because that's important too. And then I think I hit like 10,000 followers in those 6 months. And it was crazy.
It's impressive.
Sorry. Blowing up. And so, and it wasn't about the number for me. I didn't realize how much of a need I had for like making friends.
Yeah.
Because I've been like a mom and wrapped up, and like I have my like closest life friends, but like I kept meeting people that I was just so genuinely excited about. And then we would have offline conversations, or we would go out for drinks pre-COVID. And I started to make like all these friends, and now building House of Wise, like I literally feel like this is the company that Twitter built. Like all of my investors came from House of Wise, all of the people I'm working with now, all my early stage buyers. So yeah, Twitter literally. And then I got to speak to the Twitter executive team. So they brought me in to speak to Jack and all the team about my experience and how they can make Twitter better for women. And yeah, so it's been an incredible experience.
What was that like?
Oh my God, it was nuts. I did a YouTube, I did a little like storytelling about it. But it literally was their entire executive team, and they were listening the whole time. Like no one was taking notes or like working and distracted, but they were all like listening, taking notes, and asking very, very specific questions about like the experience. And it showed me that I think pre-COVID and pre-Black Lives Matters and presidential madness, they were focused on this problem. Like, how do we bring more women to Twitter to have conversations and create these communities? And now you could see that they were like back in it. And we talked a lot about the onboarding experience, trolls, and, DM management and all this stuff. So we got very tactical, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that Twitter engaged in things of that sort with people. But
yeah, no, their research team is amazing. Their product team is amazing. Like if you DM them feedback, they respond. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
wow. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. This has been an amazing episode. I'd love to have you back another time. But if there are people who are looking for you, how should they best find you?
I mean, Twitter
Right.
is where I share most of, if you want to see the visual behind the scenes, I'm on Instagram too. And House of Wise is there, and you can, buy from different wise women through our Instagram. So that's at house 2_of 2_wise. So House of Wise. And then Twitter, I'm just Amanda M. Goetz.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I'd love to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.